Have you ever wondered where the phrase raining cats and dogs came from? Well, in ancient Egypt, cats and dogs were considered sacred animals with magical powers. Every year, feasts were thrown in their honor in belief that they would summon the rains necessary to flood the Nile and water the crops. Hence the saying, raining cats and dogs. That sounds right, doesn't it? Or does it date back to the 1500s in Britain, where houses were made with thatched roofs? When the weather got cold and gray, animals like cats and small dogs would seek warmth in the straw. During heavy rainstorms, some would slip off and wash into the gutters. Oh, look ye, Prudence, 'tis raining cats and dogs. That sounds right, too. So can you guess which one is real? Well, if you guessed the British animal gutter story, congrats! Thing is, there are so many common phrases that have peculiar origins, making them perfect for storytelling. On That Sounds Right, I face off with celebrity guests, both of us trying to convince each other that our origin story is the real one. And sometimes, fact really is stranger than fiction. But sometimes, a tall tale is just so much better. I'm your host, Andrew Keenan-Bolger, and this is That Sounds Right. I am thrilled to introduce my guest today, Ashley Gavin. She is a stand-up comedian, writer, and podcast host. You may know her from her chart-topping podcast, We're Having Gay Sex, or her hilarious videos on TikTok. She's been featured on Netflix, Hulu, Comedy Central, and you can watch her full comedy special on YouTube, which I just watched this week, and oh my gosh, y'all, it is so good.
Thank you.
Please give a warm welcome to Ashley Gavin.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. What a great intro.
Oh,
it's very professional.
Thank you. I'm reading off of a teleprompter. But truly, your special was so amazing. I cannot, and it's your first fully live capture version.
Yeah.
What was that like after having done comedy for a while and making?
I was so excited to make it. I feel like I've been wanting to shoot something like that for my entire career, but also felt like, I did my first hour that I taped 3 years in. So This is 9 years in. So I've just been chomping at the bit to do it. So it was really exciting.
So how do you go through a decade worth of jokes and figure out which ones you're going to pick?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if I did it. There are the parts that I know I did right, but there was so much material that I didn't put in. And a lot of it was just because I was like, I'm putting this on YouTube. I'm going to see how viral it goes. I definitely want to save some of my, more new stuff that I'm really, really proud of for something where I definitely get the big paycheck.
Yeah.
So, but also I want it to be really, really good. So it was hard to pick. I don't know that other than just going with my gut, I wanted to have a lot of different points of view and a lot of different styles within it. So there was that as well.
I think one of the most striking parts and honestly surprisingly very touching as I was watching it is when you were talking about kind of the tension between being a gay comedian who wants to definitely represent and make jokes about and for their community with being someone who is that is a part of me, but I don't want to necessarily be entirely defined as a gay quote comedian. Will you talk some more about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because when I started, even when I wasn't doing gay material, I would hear a lot from industry, do you have anything less gay? And sometimes there wouldn't even be gay material in the set. It was just a projection of how they were seeing me.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot. And I was Carnival, I say in the special, I was Carnival Cruise Line's first openly gay performer. And I wasn't even allowed to say that I was gay on the PG shows. So there was that. And then I blew up on the gay side of the internet.
Yeah.
And these fans came in expecting an entirely gay show. And I could see them sort of disengage if I didn't address that immediately or if I went too long without talking about it. And, on the algorithm side of things, things wouldn't go viral if they weren't about being gay.
Really?
So it was deeply frustrating to be kind of from both sides assigned sort of a set list, and so the special is, and then it talks historically about how gay comedians have been consumed, and expectations around them. So the special is trying to discuss that while also, putting together all my favorite jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was super meta. I really loved it. And I feel like you captured that tension perfectly. I think for any queer performers, creators out there who are trying to do the thing for our community, but like also you're a comedian who happens to be gay.
Exactly. That was sort of like I would like to be both. I know because straight people were like, oh, I didn't even think about that with like Ellen and all these comedians. I was like, yeah, dude, like it's very relevant. We just don't talk about it because, you know, like if you're not, why would you talk about it if you're not gay, honestly? Like, why? But
no one talks about the being straight.
Right, exactly, yeah.
I was also delighted to find out you have a background in computer science.
Yeah, I have a coding
Smarty
background.
Pants. How do you feel like, has that influenced your career or your comedy at all?
I don't know that it's hard to say because some of the analytical portions of my brain would probably be there even if I had never pursued computer science. Like I like looking at data to understand things. I like visualizing data. So even within my jokes, you know, like if I'm visualizing a set and what it's going to look like, I'll use data like how many laughs per minute or like how big the laughs are, and like I'll quite literally like have like a spreadsheet of those things. But I think more than that, it's more the business side where the computer science is helpful. Like I build a lot of my own tools, like my text alert. I'll text people if I'm in their city. Wow. I wrote all that code myself. So, you know, that's been super helpful. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm going to have you type in all of the like SEO terms that we need to put at the bottom of this episode.
I wish I knew more about SEO. SEO is not my forte, unfortunately.
Well, that's fine. We'll just be happy to have you then. So That Sounds Right is all about storytelling and occasionally telling some lies. Now, Ashley, do you remember telling a lie when you were younger that like really stands out?
Yeah, I'm one of the first lies that I think I ever told. I was about probably 8 years old. You know, when I grew up, there was one computer in the classroom, and everyone had to share that one computer. And you probably didn't have a computer at home. And I remember, this is very funny based on what we just said, but this girl in my class who I had like a pretty big crush on, but obviously I didn't really understand it because I was 8 years old and I wasn't really thinking about it much. I just knew that I like loved this girl. She was having trouble with the computer. I knew how to fix it. So I went over and I, you know, fixed her problem. This might have been, we were 8. This might have been as simple as like closing a window.
Turn it off.
Yeah, not even, I don't think. And then she kissed my cheek. And I remember thinking, this is like the best day of my... And I could die right now, and my 8 years would have been worth it. And I went home, and I said to my mom, I'm never watching my face again. And she was like, oh, my God, did a boy kiss you? And I was like, even in that moment, I knew I couldn't say what had actually, I know, isn't this so sad?
This is so sweet.
Even at 8 years old, I know it's sad, it's heartbreaking, but also sweet. Even at 8 years old, I knew that what I had done was quote unquote wrong. And so I lied and I said, well, the class computer was broken and I fell and I hit my head on it and it fixed it. And, so obviously my face, like I'm good luck, so I'm never gonna wash my face again. And I'm sure
this has so many levels.
I know, seriously. The STEM, like, the women in STEM
metaphor
thing. Yeah, but that was the first lie that I can remember. The first like genuine lie. I feel like when you're a kid, you tell hyperbolic stories, you make shit up, but like you're a kid, you're storytelling. This was like a straight up lie. Like I am gay and I don't want to be gay, and how do I get out of this situation?
Have you found that girl on Instagram?
I actually did look her up the other day, and she's a dentist.
Oh, come on.
So she's killing it.
All right. I love it. Is she gay now?
No, she's not gay.
Oh, okay. You definitely...
Well, we have no real way of knowing, do we?
Do we?
But she is not like out or anything like that.
Yeah. You didn't go through her followers.
No,
and you're
I
like,
wasn't
why are you randomly following like Winona Earp? That's strange. Interesting.
Why is it me, Elliot Page, Mae Martin, Fletcher? Interesting.
We'll have to get to the bottom of this. All right, well, let's get to the game. Okay, so here are the rules. Each of us has been given a card with an idiom or a common phrase written on it, along with the origin story. We get 5 minutes to review and decide if we are going to be telling the real story or if we can do one better than history and make it up. Either way, we have to convince the opponent that our story is the real one. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to get to thinking. And when we come back, we will separate the fact from the funny.
All right there, I'm gonna kick things off and tell you the backstory of the phrase pulling your leg. Now, you're gonna gather round your blokes because we're taking you back to the old Victorian era in jolly old London town.
I was actually going to commit to the bit of speaking this whole thing in a Cockney accent, but honestly, this is really hurting my throat.
Yeah, it's raspy.
Yeah, it's very raspy, and this will probably be dated by this point, but it is fully like outside is burning currently in New York, so I'm gonna protect the gift. Yes, we're in Victorian era, a London town, so you would probably be thinking like cucumber sandwiches and like Charles Dickens novels and like high-waisted trousers and people just like, I assume, absolutely abusing the word fortnight. Like, I think people are probably like, oh, in a fortnight. And back in that time, especially in London, there were the people with the haves and the have-nots. And the people with the have-nots, they were thieves. There were a lot of thieves. It cannot be overstated how many thieves there were in London. I wonder, what do you think, like a group, like a band of, is it a band of thieves?
I guess so.
Yeah, like I like a dazzle of zebras.
Are they called the Dazzle?
Oh, yeah, a murder of ravens.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no. And I would say probably my main way to access this idiom, pulling your leg, is through musical theater, as I often do. Specifically, the musical Oliver. Now, Oliver is a musical that takes place during this era, and it is about a band of thieves led by their charismatic, probably like problematically anti-Semitic leader, Fagin. And he has a band of boy thieves, and there is a trick that they do whenever they are going to rob someone, and that is to sneak up on someone and pull at their leg. So they fall to the ground. And once on the ground, the thief goes and robs them. Now, this is something that just kept happening all the time. Like, people would just be like walking down the street, going to, I don't know, where do people go in London in like the 1820s? Probably to go get tea at a salon, perhaps?
Yeah,
Eat some crumpets somewhere. And just all of a sudden, you are just like yanked from the back. Someone pulls your leg and you fall to the ground and they rob you. And you know what? The thing that is not often talked about is how funny this probably would be to actually watch. This is like early prank YouTube, like so much so that this actually became something where people would just start pulling on people's legs to make them trip and fall, just to make them look foolish and not even rob them. It became such a thing because of the phrase, pulling your leg.
This is like the original, a few years ago when kids were running around punching people in the street.
Yes.
Just knocking them out cold.
Yeah, that part.
OG that.
Yeah, I will be honest. I don't find that brand of comedy to be that funny, but I do remember once in high school, this is probably terrible. I don't know why I'm sharing this, but I do remember one of my friends was on crutches because she had broken her leg. And I remember her not getting her leg pulled, but like the crutches flying. And she had comically loaded in hundreds of pages of loose leaf paper to like scuttle into the air. Yes, yeah. And she was not even being robbed. So yeah, this was happening left and right. You know, people, they had to eat, they had to survive, and sometimes it means you just gotta pull someone's leg.
I have a question.
Yes.
Am I allowed to ask?
Yes, you can ask me whatever you want.
Isn't pulling someone's leg like you're lying to them? You're like, kind of like they're like, no, you're pulling my leg. That didn't happen.
And I think that is like directly related to people just like pulling people's legs for gags. Like the meaning has been completely erased, and it is now just like associated with, oh, you're getting your yucks. You're just like pulling their leg.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you have any other follow-up questions?
I guess like was there ever a point where it went into popular discourse? Like was there someone that coined this phrase, or was it more like...
Yeah, so there's a children's book actually that's called Pulling My Leg.
Okay.
And it is a storybook for children, and it is all about a child whose name is Leg. And
Come on.
y'all will never know the pressure of what it feels like to look into
serious?
a brilliant comedian's eyes and try and come up with a name. No,
This child is
I have
named
no idea.
Leg?
I have no idea who this kid was. You know, they wrote a thing called "You're Pulling My Leg," and people were like, "Oh yeah, it's that book. You're pulling my leg. What a funny, hilarious story."
Okay. I think that's a lie. But I think the whole thing is... I think it's true. I think that is the
You're thinking that sounds right.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
You would totally be correct. That is definitely right. And there was randomly a storybook called "You're Pulling My Leg."
But the kid was not named Leg.
I think that kid.
Oh, that
their
kid
name
was named Leg McLeg. That's so weird.
I think it was Peg McLeg.
Peg McLeg.
Yeah,
Leg McKneecap.
Yeah.
Ankleson.
Okay, we are going to take a break, and we will be back with Ashley's story.
So now I'm going to tell you the story of the idiom "beat around the bush."
Ooh.
If you don't know what this means, it means to discuss a matter without fully coming to the point. And
Okay.
I feel it is June.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a little bit targeted that they picked "beat around the bush," and I had for the lesbian on the show, and I had no fucking idea. First, pandering, rude. Obviously,
like,
this is a
how
bit.
do we get Ashley Gavin to say Bush as many times
as many
in our
times
TikTok
as humanly possible
to promote
I did
this
this
episode?
like way less formally than you, so I'm really milking these jokes right now. But here's the crazy thing.
Okay.
This phrase, Happy Pride, has origins within the queer community, which I
Stop.
had no fucking idea. So it was a Prohibition era phrase.
Okay.
1920s. People were going crazy. And I actually knew this before, but sexuality
Yeah.
was a little more... It was a little cooler back then, and then like with the 1950s and things became more like conservative. But back then, like people were experimenting and people were a little bit not like liberal about it, but
Yeah.
like more so than you would think back then. So what this term ended up happening at speakeasies. Now, people would say about someone who's hooking up, like a woman hooking up with another woman, well, they weren't having sex. They were just beating around the bush. Like, I'm not a lesbian. I just beat around the bush. I do everything but.
Okay.
They beat around the
just
bush.
around it.
Yeah, they're just around.
Yeah.
They're not fully a lesbian, right? So it got really popular because Zelda Fitzgerald, who was a little bit mentally ill, so they think schizophrenia,
Yeah.
I think. And so that really became popular because she was a writer, and she thought that her husband was having an affair with Hemingway,
F.
gay. Right? But she used the phrase to refer to them because like as they were like writing to each other, they like did everything but. They're like beating around the bush is what she said. And that's how it rose to popularity and became what it means today, which is like to dance around a subject matter without doing anything. And then it also coined the bush, which is two birds, one stone.
Two birds, one bush.
Two birds, one bush. Any questions?
I do. I feel like, this might have been a unique experience going to college in the Midwest, but I feel like I knew a lot of Christians who were couples who would like really beat around the bush, just in like, we're not having sex.
Right.
But they would have butt sex.
Right, exactly.
They're like, that was just like beating around the bush.
It doesn't
They're like,
say anything about that here, but I imagine that is from that.
Is that also from that? Okay.
I think so, but that sounds right to me.
Yeah. Other questions. I would guess, does this have anything to do with like a literal shrub at all?
No literal shrub.
No literal shrub.
It's bush.
This is bush.
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 Yeah.
I am gonna guess. I feel like that sounds wrong to me.
Yeah, that's where I fucked up. I fucked up.
No.
You gotta have a literal bush in it, otherwise you can't. Also,
Betrayed
did you
again.
guys put this up specifically for this? This bush, if you can hear that in the audio version, there's a bush behind us. I had to do a lesbian version of this. When I saw beat around the bush, I was like, I had to make it gay.
I am almost mad at our producers if I weren't so truly delighted. Okay, so what is this true story?
So the true story, beat around the bush, it was a hunting term. So basically hunters would try to get game out of bushes and they would run up to the bushes and literally beat the bush. But the problem with that is sometimes there would be like bees in the bush.
Oh,
so
no.
the bees or like a more predatory animal would come out and like hurt them. So what they learned to do is they beat around the bush.
Beat around the bush.
Yes, exactly. So it's basically similar to the meaning of going straight to the point of a hard conversation. That can be difficult to do, take time. Maybe it riles up like feelings or whatever. So talking around the point can actually get the best result without being so direct. But now I feel like it's almost a negative term. It's like, get to the fucking point. Stop beating around the bush. Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Get those bees.
Yeah.
Well, we still got a little birds and bees, so that's good.
Yeah.
Also on theme. But it does mean that we have arrived at a tie. Which means that we are going to be going into sudden death. Now, for this round, our producer is going to read us an obscure and very strange law. We each have a buzzer. You'll see you have one there. And they have been specially programmed with iconic Ashley Gavin quotes.
Wow.
If you want to grab your buzzer and press it into the mic.
It's just physics, bro.
Do you know what that's referencing?
No.
Well, you said it.
Did I say that?
Yeah, it is in reference to a certain double-headed
Oh,
sex toy.
it's a physics problem. That one. Yeah. Yes.
All right.
My
and
double-ended dildo joke.
I've
From my
got
you, this is so sweet.
Oh,
This is like very nice.
You know, we give you the sparkling water. We give you a nice little bush to make you feel at home, and we program the buzzers
at home. Yeah, it's so sweet.
All right, mine is.
Oh, he's a feather.
This is you talking about your
My
dead dad.
father.
Because we're also, yeah.
He's a feather. I see him in the wind sometimes.
If you have no idea what we're talking about,
This is so
you gotta tune in. It's on YouTube. It's for free. You don't even need to be subscribed.
It is free. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even need to steal your friend's password. So our producer is going to read us a very strange law, and we each have a buzzer. The first one who buzzes in gets to guess if that sounds right or if like she's totally making that up.
Okay.
All right, you ready? Come on in, Brianna.
We're starting in New Jersey.
Oh.
In Bernards Township, it is illegal to frown as the town is a frown-free tone zone.
Oh, he's a feather.
Andrew?
I'm gonna guess that sounds right because it's truly annoying.
It's true.
Yeah, that's pretty
Did you say a
insufferable.
frown-free
Tone zone.
tone zone? Okay.
It's very New Jersey.
That's not the part of New Jersey that touches us, though. That is like
Yes.
some woodsy
Yes.
part over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, money.
They're like, you're Occupy Pennsylvania at this point. I feel like we can do another one just because I like doing these laws.
If not more. We got
Yeah.
a couple. Okay, we're sticking to New Jersey.
Oh.
It is against the law for a man to cross-stitch during the hunting season.
It's just physics, bro.
I'm going to say that is true.
It's false. I made it up. But why would you think that was true?
I don't know. It feels like something to do with that he needs to be out.
Yeah,
like,
it's-
stop being so freaking gay and
it's
get
very
out there
no homo.
and yeah.
It was totally made up by me. Sorry to throw you.
Well,
Can we do
thanks.
another?
Let me just grab my gun. I was going to
I
cross
feel like
stitch you
he's
a really nice
dominating,
thing for
but
your
I'll do
birthday.
another one.
No,
If you...
what we're saying is you are allowed to cross stitch during hunting season.
Oh, I am allowed.
Yes,
oh,
yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
Brianna's an ally. We take it back.
Okay, here we go. We're going to Ohio.
Okay.
It is legal to throw a snake at someone, but it is illegal to shake a snake at someone.
It's just physics, bro.
That just feels like, why would anyone make that up? So I think that's true. Like,
true.
something had to have happened. Something happened.
It's so true. It's very true.
Also, shake a snake is, I feel like you are loading us with the euphemisms
For
today.
real.
It's
I
really
did
strong
not
work.
do this on purpose. Beat around the bush, I did. I'm so sorry. I will own up to that. But these ones just came to the forefront. I didn't
Well,
even make these up.
I'm obsessed. Okay, so are we at a standoff?
You got.
I feel like
one
I'm
right.
losing.
You
but-
have
no,
one.
no,
No, you
she's
got that
in
one
the
right,
lead.
and I got the first one right.
Yeah, but I also got one wrong.
Oh, that's right. So you guys are tied. So we have one more.
One more.
This is the.
All right. This will clinch it.
And this is in Oregon.
Ooh.
It is against the law for a wedding ceremony to be performed at a skating rink.
Oh, he's a feather.
Yes, Andrew.
I'm gonna say that sounds wrong because I feel like it's not cold enough to have skating there a lot of the time of the year.
It
right?
also just feels like a stereotype about Portland that someone was writing a joke about. So I agree with you, but you got in there first.
It is true.
Oh, I'm wrong.
This is This is
Okay.
just a tie.
Oh, it's
You
a tie.
both win.
Well, you know what? I think we actually have a tie prize for you.
Oh,
you have
really?
Yeah. Did we remember to put it in?
I win a prize? It's like the best podcast I've ever done. So informative.
We might be having to hold for the prize.
Hold for prize.
Hold for prize.
Oh.
All right. You get to choose a lovely greeting card. This is the nicest prize you'll ever get.
Is there one you want me to pick?
No, this is not like.
Okay. So Hallmark.
Oh no.
Oh, do I read it out
Oh,
loud?
sure, yeah.
A pessimist says the wine glass is half empty. An optimist says the wine glass is half full. An opportunist says, "Hey, look, free wine. Cheers to me on my birthday."
Oh my God, that's very live, laugh, love.
Yeah, very.
It's wine o'clock.
I love it. It is wine o'clock. I
Yeah.
don't drink, so I actually think this is perfect.
Oh no.
I'm going to give this to my girlfriend's mother, who loves wine.
No follow-up questions.
She will laugh so hard at this card.
my
I can't believe
gosh.
I'm telling you that I'm re-gifting this in front of you,
No,
but
that's the reason that we give it. A card is meant to be given away.
Good re-gift. No, it's very funny.
Oh my gosh. Ashley, thank you so much. That is all for our show today. Look, if you liked us, we would love for you to write us a review. I love reading these and these really help. Also, tell your besties about That Sounds Right. If you're anything like me, I get a podcast rec from a friend and that's like the best way to actually get any kind of recommendation. Thank you so much to Ashley Gavin, who you can find on her socials at AshGavs. That's on Instagram. And then on Twitter, it's a little different, right?
I think it's on TikTok. It's different, but honestly,
on TikTok, yeah.
if you just search Ashley Gavin, you're fine.
Ashley Gavin, y'all. Just search her. Thank you, and join us next week for another episode of Say It With Me, Ashley.
That sounds right.
I got it.